Hi, and welcome to Alimenta's Christmas edition. My name is B, and I'm really excited because today we are very festive. As you can see, I have my lights, and if you've noticed, my music's changed up, some traditional Puerto Rican music to celebrate the holidays, and of course, my great recipe that I'm excited to share with you. But before I do, just sit back and watch this small clip, and we'll be right back.
Our featured recipe, Coquito, which translates to little coconut, is an important part of our Puerto Rican holiday traditions. It's a coconut nog we enjoy this time of year at gatherings alongside homemade dishes, and it is homemade cooking that inspired our cooking channel. The phrase "Eso alimenta" was one my sister and I frequently heard during the dinner time and enforced the idea of eating nourishing food. When talking about Puerto Rican traditions, we can't forget the folklore music known as Jibaro music from the mountain region of the island. Although it is heard year-round, this music is most prevalent during the Christmas season. It is part of the traditional island caroling when families and friends meet to play music, dance, and sing at a loved one's home. Raymond Vasquez Lamboy is a brilliant musician who helped arrange the Jibaro songs heard in this video. He's also a musical historian who was recently recognized by the Puerto Rican Cultural Institute for leading the initiative to restore the earliest recordings of Puerto Rican music. His work and dedication has earned him a name in the industry and the island. If you're wondering why I know so much about him, it's because he's also my cousin. Many of my memories of Raymond were of him playing music at family gatherings like this one.
I hope you enjoyed the clip, and now it's time to get started. So, before me we have all the milks that I'll be using for the recipe. We have condensed milk, we have coconut cream, coconut milk, as well as evaporated milk. So I know you're probably used to the condensed and evaporated milk being dairy. These are coconut-based milks. That's what makes this recipe so awesome, because you get to have coquito even though you may have a plant-based diet, such as myself. I'm also including some agave because I like to just sweeten it up a bit, because as you can see, my condensed milk is about half the size of the one that's usually used in the recipes, which is like 14 or 15 ounces. I'm also going to use some water that's been boiled with cinnamon, some white rum, which is optional for you, and then we'll at the end we'll garnish our drink with a little bit of hazelnut. We're going to start with the condensed milk, and I wanted to show you guys the brand in case you're interested in purchasing it online if you can't find it in your supermarket. The brand is called Let's Do Organic. And yes, it's organic. When I look at this brand, which is obviously non-dairy as it says here, when you look at it in comparison to a dairy-based condensed milk, such as like Eagle brand, you'll see that it actually contains cholesterol in it, whereas this has zero cholesterol, and the sodium content for those dairy condensed milk is pretty high, whereas this one is much lower. So we're just gonna put that one in here. Make sure you get all of it out, because this is pretty awesome. It's gonna give it a nice sweetness. I'm not using a blender because of all the milks and liquid involved. I need something a little bit larger, which is why I'm using a bowl, and I will be using my mixer, my hand mixer. So next up here is coconut cream. This is very simple. It's Fairway. You can get any other brand. This is a store-bought brand. This happens to be organic. It's nice and thick, as you can see. Very few ingredients. It's coconut, water, and gargum. I think it's called guar gum. And that is actually an extract from a plant that's called guar. And it's just used as a stabilizer and a thickening agent when you're using it for ingredients. I think I've made a mess here, but it's okay. I like to use this because it doesn't contain a lot of ingredients. If you take a look at some of the brands, in particular Coco which is very popular in the Hispanic community, that actually contains 11 ingredients, and it's high in sugar. It has these ingredients I can't even pronounce, so I want to keep it simple. Our next milk is evaporated milk. Very simple. It contains coconut milk, it contains coconut sugar, it contains water, guar gum, and some salt. If you look at another brand, which is dairy based, which is like a carnation evaporated milk, you're gonna notice that there are a lot of ingredients in there that you can't pronounce, very similar to the previous creamed coconut that I mentioned, that brand Coco. So just something for you to be aware of. I wanted to mention this is called Nature's Charm, and you can get it online. Finally, good old-fashioned coconut milk. That is actually part of the recipe. It is what it is. It's coconut milk. There's nothing fancy about it, and if you buy it from even something like Goya, you should be fine. Hopefully it just only has coconut milk in it now. So what I'll do, if you notice here, it's pretty thick. So now I want to just mix this up because it's solid and you want it nice and smooth. You don't want it clumpy. At least you'll try to avoid that. So we'll turn our machine on. We'll start it off really low. I don't want it to go all over the place. I may not be able to help that. Great. So next up is 2 tablespoons of agave. You may want to opt not to use it up front. Just put all the ingredients in, mix them in, and then determine whether or not you want to add that extra added sugar. It's up to you. This is a little uncommon in most traditional Coquito recipes. I mean, my recipe in and of itself is uncommon, but this happens to be water that I boiled with 6 cinnamon sticks. You just bring it to a boil and then you take it away from the heat, let it cool off, and I add that just to give it a nice flavor. I have 1 cup of white rum here. That is a tradition to use, is white rum. You can use the Bacardi Gold if you want. This happens to be Bacardi White. If you use any rum you want. You can also use a combination of rum and cognac or maybe a brandy, but I try to keep it simple. I just use Bacardi White. It's plant-based, so no fears there for me. I'm gonna use half of it. Just a little bit more than half, just to try it out a little bit. Let's see, maybe I'll add more later. So now let's give it a nice mix here. All right, I'm going to put a little bit in here. That's really light. I'm gonna throw the rest of that cup in there. You guys may not want to put any of it in there. It's up to you. I happen to love some Bacardi White in my Coquito. All right, so my coquito's done. I'll use a glass like this, just pour some in there and garnish it with a nice stick of cinnamon and maybe a touch of hazelnut. And that is my coquito. I hope you guys enjoyed the recipe. I hope you also enjoyed my small clip. If you like our video, please give us a like. If you like the recipes that you're watching, please subscribe to our video. We're also on Facebook as well as Instagram. And from Alimenta, we would like to wish you all very safe and happy Christmas. Merry Christmas. If you don't celebrate Christmas, I'm sorry. Happy holidays to you. And until next time.